Welcome back in another episode of the Witcher Old World painting, this time the Nightwraith, the model which with the very nice lighting effect as she's holding the wee lantern. So we will try to create the kind of like a greenish color lighting, as you can see in the miniature in the corner there. The model itself is primed with the black primer, as most of my latest models, and we will try to keep that dark color through the painting process. Our first color is the Dryad bark, and we do dry brushing all over the skin of our miniature. Next we're gonna repeat the process again. This time we're gonna use the color called GORTHOR brown, and again we very gently touch the brush through the plastic, so we're gonna keep very little paint on it. As you can see now, I add a little bit of the Screaming Skull to our GORTHOR brown, and then we create the kind of lighter tone, and we literally very gently touch the model in couple of stages. So we're gonna keep all the edges exposed into the brightest tone. In the next step, we're gonna take the black and the blue, and we're gonna mix that with the majority of the black to keep it the dark shade, with a little bit scented with the blue, and we're gonna paint all over the cloak and the skirt of our miniature. Again, you know, in the deep recesses we put either very little paint or not at all. We'll keep it black, and we'll put a couple of layers of that shade, with adding a little bit more blue with every consecutive layer. And again, every layer you apply, make sure you properly dilute the paint, and again you cover a little bit less every time that you apply the paint, just to create the natural shade of blue versus black. Yeah, as you can see, I add a little bit of that blue black shade on the hair. I use the side of the brush, as the miniature have a nice deep recesses in between each hairs, so that helps to apply the paint only on the top surfaces. Now again, as you can see, the makeup sponge we're gonna use to apply a bit more blue on our model, as this pink will give us a nice smooth transition in between the colors. So just stamp down the paint, make sure you have right amount of paint on the sponge. If you're not sure, you can use either tissue or a little bit of the, you know, the printing paper. Anything would be sufficient just to check the amount of paint that you have it on the sponge. Again, small correction of our beige on the skin here and there, as you know, using the sponge, especially on the hands, you might go a bit over the area that you want to put it on. But again, as you can see, we have a nice black and blue effect Next we're gonna switch back to our brown colors, the Rhinox side and the GORTHOR brown, and then we're gonna apply mixed of those two onto the base. I'd like to create a kind of like a soil mode, brownish color. We're gonna put some plants towards the end, so that would be the base for our miniature. Again, you know, while the paint is wet, you can easily mix a couple different shades. In that case, I also add a little bit of the ivory, in this case the Screaming Skull. Next, the Eshin gray mixed with our blue, Macragge blue, and a little bit of ivory, and we're gonna do a little bit of highlighting of the hair of our miniature. So again, with the fine brush, start from the forehead and going back in couple of stages. We're gonna apply a couple different shades of bluish gray. Next we're gonna switch over to the Skrag brown, and we're gonna do a little bit of dry brushing on the base itself. Again, you know, it's not necessary step. You might also use the previous shades, but I think that kind of browny color on the top, light brown, will do the job. Next, the wash, the Reikland fleshshade on the mini base, together with a little bit of the Agrax earthshade. Again, staple here and there just to create a couple of different shades of brown. Next, we're gonna switch over to the Hexwraith flame, and we're gonna staple the miniature from the right side, and we're gonna create kind of like a green shades, and that will be the first layer of our light from the lantern. And again, I'm using the sponge for that. However, in those areas that you can't reach with the sponge, you know, under the arm, you probably need to switch back to the brush. But as you can see, that side of the model is start getting a little bit of green, as this paint have a very transparent shade. Next we switch over to the Wrapstone glow, which is nearly the same shade of green. However, the Wrapstone glow is the layer paint, which cover a bit more, and again, in those areas closer to the lamp, we want a little bit more green than on those far sides. As you can see, as I mentioned earlier on, in some parts the sponge won't be sufficient, as you can't get under the arm due to the size of the sponge itself. And the wee lantern as well, you know, we're gonna put pure green on it initially, and then we're gonna add some brighter color later on. Again, once you're applying those paints, make sure, you know, you look at those areas when the light from the lamp could reach, so we cover literally that side of the model. Next we add a little bit of the yellow green from Vallejo, and gonna mix with our Wrapstone glow, and and we're gonna create another shade, which is kind of like a very light green. And again, we cover a little bit less than previously, so we're not gonna do the whole part that we started, but we cover a little bit around that lantern that she's holding in her hand. And we're gonna be doing this in a couple of stages, and every time we're gonna add a little bit more that yellow paint from Vallejo, just to create the nice light effect on the side of our miniature. I also add a little bit on the right hand, as it's a little bit exposed to the light from the lantern. The wee glass on the lantern, I paint the wee bit with the pure white. It is the white scar from Citadel colors, and couple of edges highlights on the miniature as well. And once that dries off, we add a little bit of the pure yellow, and that will create a nice light effect on the lamp itself, and obviously on those edges of the skirt. Using our mix of green and yellow, I put a little bit of that color on the eyes just to do the eyes pupils. Our final stage, the rim, the usual color for my model is the German grey, which looks perfect for that. And just to finish it off, couple of pieces of different grass or flowers, whatever you prefer. I prefer something darker, so that's a couple of pieces of dark grass and a little bit of flowers. And this is it, the model is ready. It's pretty much keeping the dark scheme of that character, and the light effect, I think it looks pretty cool as well. So I hope you like this video, I hope you like this model painted that way. If you do so, please give the thumb up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't do so yet, and if you'd like to comment as well, feel free to do so. I hope to see you soon. The next video should be shortly after that. Take care and bye now.